And we are on. Hello, welcome to another episode of Sports Unhinged. I am Mo, and I'm here with Ujita and Coach. Happy Thanksgiving, guys. How did you guys spend the holidays?
Happy Thanksgiving. Great holiday. Best one ever.
Overeat much?
Overeat a lot, yes.
Yeah.
He's wearing his Thanksgiving pants as we speak. Don't get up.
Don't stand up. Don't stand up, Coach. Stay where you are. All right, guys. Let's kind of go quickly through the games that happened. A lot of action in the Thanksgiving games. Let's start with the first game of the night. That was the Buffalo Bills against the Lions. A very narrow win for the Bills, 28-25. Came down to Josh Allen's late game heroics with that throw to Stephon Diggs. Again, Dan Campbell with time management issues, which seemed to be kind of consistent across his career. Coach, what were your reactions to that game?
You still root for Detroit, don't you?
I do, yes.
Yeah, you just really want them to win. You really and they play well, and they seem like they have a lot of heart and they're in it. And then all of a sudden, Josh Allen just goes
and straight across for it. Yeah.
On a line, 27 yards in like 1.1 seconds. That's like amazingly how hard that ball was thrown. And on a number. So I like Detroit. I want them to win. I want them to win every game. But Buffalo's maybe starting to feel it a bit. I feel like Allen was a little more healthy in this game.
Yeah.
Than maybe the last two or maybe the last three. And I also felt like that even when Von Miller got hurt, they kind of rallied. Their defense kind of rallied a bit, right? And they had, I think, in the middle of the game, 4 or 5 straight stops without a score for Detroit. So I like Detroit, but I wouldn't want to play Buffalo when the chips are down.
I mean, talking about Detroit, we can see the same thing with Minnesota. Last year, losing a lot of close games. This year, they're winning them. Ujita, do you see that Detroit are making enough progress that maybe they'll turn a corner, maybe not this year, but next year where they'll start winning those close games and probably become a contender somewhere to go to the playoffs?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, they're the best looking 4-7 team at the moment, you know? Yeah. They got juice, but I think the difference is they're not able to finish games. I mean, how many games have they come close to and they have had tough losses. So until they figure out how to go that extra mile and actually win games, I mean, just like Allen coming back with that really good drive to win the game, until they figure it out, it's going to be tough. And they have the weapons. We've seen it. We've seen it all year. Yeah, but maybe next year, man. Yeah.
No, for me, it's also the play calling. I mean, Dan Campbell, I mentioned at the beginning, he's had time management issues, and they were very prevalent in this game. Even in the last minute of the game, there were 31 seconds left. There was a 3-and-1 play where he called the passing play where Goff tried to pass it deep. Why didn't he just go for a run, get a fresh set of downs, and then work from there? I think questions a little bit about the play calling and the time management there, Coach. What did you make of that?
Sometimes you question it, right? Because you want to go for the win. You want to show confidence in your players. You want to show confidence in your play caller. But at the end of the day, the head coach has the final say on which play is called. That's the reason he has that little button on his side where he goes back and forth. He's not conservative.
Yeah,
he will never be conservative, right?
Yep.
He'll fight you with one butt cheek and 3 fingers. Whatever he said, right? So I feel like if that was Bill Belichick, Detroit might have walked out with a win.
You might have gotten close enough to go for a win. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so you just have to think of it that way. But he'll learn, or we hope he learns. And we hope, as we say, he'll learn just as his players learn. Ujitha made a good point. Sometimes you have to learn how to win.
Yeah.
And through that comes some hard losses. But no, his clock management wasn't good. I think it was about 44 seconds where he could have gotten it all the way down to 32 or 28 maybe. Well, that's much different than 46. I think is what they started with the clock. So
Yeah.
And it's kind of like when we watched Kansas City the other night. No one doubted that they were going to go down. Like
Right.
I watched it as we were finishing Thanksgiving last night. There was no doubt in my mind that they were going to go down and kick a field goal. None whatsoever.
It's going to happen.
Yeah,
Now,
I mean, it doesn't have to be fancy. And what's scary about the Bills now, they're actually winning these one-score games now. Traditionally, they weren't great at winning, and it's scary. Now they're even taking that.
And Josh Allen didn't have a great first half, but then, he kind of turned the corner.
Lions did a great job with crowding the line and really blitzing him and stuff. They hold him up, but then that's a great quarterback that comes back like that.
One thing I noticed, guys, how many shotgun snaps did he drop that hit him right in the hands? The touchdown he scored, it hit him right in the hands, and then he dropped it, and then he picked it up and went, F it, I'm going.
Yeah.
And there were about, I think I counted 5 or more that I paid attention to. There might have been more. It just seems like an issue. And then he might panic a bit. The red zone interception he threw that was tipped, that was a terrible read.
Yeah.
Right? You've got 2 guys in your throwing lane. They're right there because you look down before you throw it, and you still throw it. And that's just
when that happened, I was actually thinking maybe Detroit might do something, because we know when Josh Allen gets into that kind of a way where he throws interceptions in the red zone.
Yeah.
That mindset, he's been losing that, but one-score game win.
Well, it was a more exciting game than it should have been on paper, or than it was on paper. So I think it was quite a good show. The Lions, again, keeping the, we still have a soft spot for them going throughout the season. So let's see how that turns out throughout the rest of the year. The second game, how about them Cowboys? The New York Giants at the Dallas Cowboys, 20-28. Coach, what won the game for the Cowboys?
Well, a lot of luck. When you've got 13 or 14 or 15 penalties, you throw 2 very stupid interceptions. Ujitha could have not thrown those interceptions. That's how bad they were.
Thank you, Coach.
I've seen him in the park with his arm, right? It's that good. I really think this is more of a testament to what the Giants are not than what Dallas is. I think what Dallas is or can be is what they showed against Minnesota. And I think on 4 days rest, they were the survivor of the 4-day rest game. But I think it's much more of a testament. Listen, the Giants don't have enough weapons. You can shut down Saquon. You can dare the quarterback to win the game, and he just can't yet. But I do like their trajectory. I like that coach. I like some of his play calling. Number 11, when he just puts his mind to it on the defense of Dallas, he's a beast, man. You just look up and all of a sudden, sack.
Yeah.
I'm like, where did he come from? And I have to run it back, and I'm like, holy cow, he came from the 3 technique on a twist. What is that? And so Dan Quinn's going to get a head coaching job. Mark that word.
Yeah, we said that last year as well.
Yeah.
Now, you say a lot of luck, but don't we have to give the Cowboys a bit of credit for the running game? I think they won that game through being able to run the game. You had Ezekiel Elliott going for 92 yards, Pollard going for 60 yards. They finally were able to get those two to both contribute in the same game. And Dak Prescott in the second half was 11 for 14, 145 yards. He had 2 touchdowns. There were some highlight reel catches there. The CeeDee Lamb one-handed catch in the red zone in the third quarter. I think that was another one. So they were entertaining enough. They had good movement on the ground. They were able to pass the ball as well. Is it all luck, or should we give them a little bit of credit here? I can't believe I'm saying this about the Cowboys. What do you think, Ujita? A little bit of credit for your division rivals?
No, never. I think I think they showed up. They showed up with the weapons they had. On the running back, Elliott, Pollard, CeeDee Lamb, and even Michael Gallup now is looking good. So they've got all this good stuff. They came in and then took care of business. Right. And I agree with Coach. The Giants, they're out of luck. I think they don't have the first string cornerbacks. Their O-line's been depleted. First wide receiver Shepard's been out the whole, I don't know for how many weeks. And that again, you question whether Kadarius Toney, whether you should have kept him or not. Then get him up to KC. So and Daniel Jones. I mean, some of those throws, the accuracy, it's he's, I don't know, man. I don't feel like he's their quarterback. They might have to look I don't know. Might have to look somewhere else. But yeah, Dallas is doing their business, and Parsons is back. I think the week before, the Eagles kind of, as we said, read optioned him out. And I think in the Green Bay game, he was playing behind the ball rather than the edge. But he's come back in the last 2 weeks, Parsons. So they're looking dangerous. They are.
Now, they're 8-3. The Eagles are at 9-1 with the game against Green Bay. We'll talk about that in a bit more detail later on. If the Eagles drop that game against Green Bay, do you start to feel the pressure? Because they're breathing down your necks. They're right there behind you.
Well, the way the NFC is structured, and the games that we have coming up, I'm not worried. Honestly, I'm not worried. We'll talk about that as we go along. But I know it was a tough game with the Colts, but they found a way to win. Good teams find a way to win. That's it. All
right. Now, the third game, we finally witnessed a Thanksgiving miracle. Kirk Cousins in prime time being able to win a game.
Bill Belichick.
Against Bill Belichick and the Patriots out of all teams. 26-33 win for the Vikings there. Coach, what did you think of the Minnesota Vikings and Kirk Cousins and his connection with Justin Jefferson? 139 yards, 1 touchdown. Not much going on the ground, so they really had to depend on him to deliver that game. What are your thoughts?
Listen, it's pretty darn impressive. I haven't seen the whole game yet, but from what we watched this afternoon of the replay, they ran bracket coverage on him, and then sometimes they ran a triple bracket with a linebacker shading, right? Yeah. And he still is open or catching it in traffic and running for another 3, 4, 5 yaks. So pretty impressive. He's kind of in a groove. Cousins, that's definitely his security blanket. However, give Thielen credit, give Hawkinson some credit. And the offensive coordinator, they devised just enough game plan. There were 2 really, I would think, game-changing screens that they ran. One about right at the end of the third quarter that I saw that really changed the field position. They didn't score. They did have to punt, but it put New England all the way back, I think, just inside the 20. So really, I think overall, my goodness, he is in a zone. And good for Cousins, right? I'm not ever a fan of his, but at the same time, he's earned his stripes or is earning his stripes through various different places. And good for him for having a coach that understands what he can do and cannot, and not making him do things he cannot. So they won't go away quietly, even though Dallas put a beat down on them. As we talk about, even with Philly and Washington, sometimes you just have a bad game and you just match up wrong for various reasons or various injuries. I'm not sure it was an anomaly. I'm not a believer in the Vikings yet. Yeah, but
it is a team you don't want to face in the playoffs, right? I mean, if you end up against the Vikings, that's the kind of one of the teams that you want to avoid, right?
No, I think I'd rather play them. I don't want to play Dallas, and I don't want to play San Francisco. Philly's on that list maybe a bit too. But if I'm picking, I'd rather play the Vikings than 3 or 4 or 5 other teams in the NFC.
Yeah. All right, Yujita, what were your thoughts on this game?
I mean, look, you come back from a beatdown and then perform the way you did. I think you got to give them credit. And look, Justin
shows
Jefferson
resilience, right?
It shows, and again, another fourth quarter comeback win. I mean, that's crazy resilience. So yeah, I get what coach is saying. I don't know how far they're going to get in the playoffs and how they're going to be, but you got to give credit to Cousins as well. I mean, I know Justin Jefferson is doing his thing, but he's also been dropping some dimes on him out there. And the coverages that coach talked about, I mean, you have to be able to drop the ball on their route. Yeah, and the 2 teams that kind of held Justin Jefferson back, Dallas and Philly, they played zone on him. So what Justin likes is to be double covered and one-on-one, which it was unbelievable that New England played that actually. You don't expect Bill Belichick to play that kind of defense.
But I don't want to take too much, credit away from the Vikings, but I felt that New England also contributed to that loss as well. Despite the fact that I felt like Mac Jones had probably one of his best games in a New England jersey so far. 28 for 39, 382 yards, 2 touchdowns. He played an exceptional game. But again, just like we talked about, time management being the issues for the Detroit Lions, with the New England Patriots, it's the red zone. It's the red zone conversion, right? And it still remains to be the biggest problem for Mac Jones and this New England Patriots team. They were, I think, going into that game, they were ranked 31st in touchdown ratios when in the red zone in the NFL. They were second to last. They were 0-3 against the Vikings when they were in the red zone in terms of converting touchdowns. So, and obviously, special teams contributed to that with the 97 return, the 97-yard return as well. So I feel that New England, if they're able to address this red zone issue and the conversion to touchdowns issue, they could be a whole different team right now. We could be talking about them being at the top of their division rather than the Bills or the
You look offensively, they were decent yesterday as well, and they had the tight end from the Chargers now, Hunter Henry.
Yeah,
and he got. By the way, doesn't he look like a post Giselle Tom Brady? When I saw him first,
Tom Brady.
Yeah, I had to do a second look on Hunter Henry. So yeah, I think the defense. You hold the Jets to 3 points, and then you come and blow this game on defense. So I'm still not convinced on the Pats.
It just makes me appreciate football, where 1 week you win on special teams of a fluke return, and the very next week you lose more or less. I think if they don't return that for a touchdown, their defense is playing pretty darn well. New England at that point, you probably hold them, you get your offensive back, you run some time off the clock. New England probably wins the game.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys.
Football karma, baby. Football karma.
Football karma.
It's getting interesting. And by the way,
it's so difficult to pick games. It's so difficult.
Three games Thanksgiving, fantastic. You'll get at least
good football games. You're right.
Yeah.
You expect 1 or 2 games to be like a Denver Broncos game of 10-3, but yeah, it was good.
I think the Denver whoever put them in primetime so many times this year.
They still have. They still have primetime
all about Russell Wilson. Same with Aaron Rodgers, though, right?
Yeah. Let's ride.
We're going to talk about that in a bit. All right, let's move on to our Pick 6 segment, right? Let's talk about the 3 games this week. You guys know the rules. It's me versus Yujita. We pick 3 games against the spread, against the over-under. You get the right pick, you get 1 point. You beat Coach, you double your points. Looking at last week's score, Coach, a good 4 out of 6 showing. Well done.
Consistent.
I had a 3 out of 6 with 1 beat the expert, so 4 points. Yujita only 2 out of 6, but both beat Coach. So we go level into this week.
That was a strategy. That was a strategy.
4 and 4.
Yeah.
The score now, as it stands, is 40 to me, 47 to you, Yujita. You still have that 7-point lead. I'm
gonna need to do an audit on that, but okay, I'll take your word.
Have a look. I'm more than happy to get your audit recommendations. All right, let's have a look now. Game number 1, the Cincinnati Bengals at the Tennessee Titans. Coach, what are the odds?
As of this podcast, the Cincinnati Bengals are favored -1.5, and the over/under at 42.5.
Wow. Okay. It's quite interesting. I was just kind of looking through the standings today, and when did Tennessee get to 7-3? They've been quietly winning games. I don't know.
They've been good a few weeks now.
They've been good, yeah, and we just didn't notice that they're the top of the division comfortably, 7-3. But Cincinnati, for me, Joe Burrow has started clicking on all cylinders as well. They've gone through some ups and downs, but I'm quite happy with the way that Cincinnati have been approaching their games. The way that I look at it, Cincinnati come here trying to look for the win. They do get it. I'm going 26-17 to Cincinnati. So Cincinnati to cover and over by just half a point. Yujita, what do you got?
Yeah, look, Tennessee coming off bye week at home. They've been good for a few weeks, and I really don't think that Cincinnati O-line will be able to keep up with that dominant defensive
tank.
lineup. Oh my God. Yeah, and I think Derrick Henry is going to have a good one. Jamar Chase might be back for Cincinnati, so
That's another
that's
one.
one
Yeah.
thing. That's thing to consider. But yeah, I mean, I just think Tennessee is a little too tough at the minute. They're going to win it. They're going to cover it easy, 27-23 with the over.
With the over, coach.
All right. Well, Joe Mixon's not going to play. It's already been ruled out. Jamar Chase is still questionable.
I didn't know about the Joe Mixon thing. So okay, I'm not going to change my pick.
You had your time. Yeah.
And well, you got to read, man.
I got to read. Yeah.
You yielded your time, boy.
You have to have a good statistician next door. That's what you need.
What does he do next door? I'm sorry.
He's got the statistician.
Oh, all right. Okay.
Giving him all the details. Yeah.
Not your back door. You're fine.
Just
back door to the next snow neighbor. All right. Got it.
I don't know. What? Tennessee. That's it.
Tennessee. Yeah. Let's talk about that game.
and Cincinnati's still about the middle of the pack stopping the run. So I like Tennessee in the under. They'll control the line of scrimmage. They'll control time of possession. They won't give Tennessee enough time to score. I'm not sure Jamar Chase is going to play. So I'll take Tennessee in the under in this one.
All right. Excellent. Let's go to game number 2. The Green Bay Packers at the Philadelphia Eagles. Coach, what are the odds?
But I like this as a nice little trap game, kind of like Dallas was in.
Yeah.
At the moment, Philly is favored -6.5, and the over-under is 45.5.
Excellent. Now, Yujita, you're going to get us started with this one. But before you go into the game and the points and the spreads and all of that, we asked you last week if you would be worried after the loss, playing against Indy. Very close game, 17-16. The Eagles did not look good. Nothing going on offense. Are you worried? I guess my question is.
Yeah, I mean, if you're asking the guy who watched this game on that couch that day, yeah, I mean, you saw how I was. Yeah, not looking good. But then, you get older over the week and you watch it back and you figure things out. And yeah, I mean, it's a little worrying, but at the end of the day, you get that win, whatever happens. So if it's not your run game that's working out, and then they didn't have a really good run game at the first half, but then you picked it up in the second half. Colts have a good defensive team, and that defense is for real. I mean, let's not kid about that.
Yeah.
And then you had
the head coach, Jeff Saturday, who knows nothing about defense or offense for that matter.
That's probably why it's working, right? And then you had the 2 new defensive guys that they brought in on the tackle on the guard, Linval Joseph and Sue, did their thing. I mean, JT, I think he had in his first drive, he went for like 40 yards on 7 carries, but then the rest of the game was some 35 yards on 15 carries.
Yeah.
So they were able to stop that run defense, which has been a problem for the last few weeks. And then when it comes to, it's like a Josh Allen thing, they needed Hurts to punch in the win, and they can rely on him, and they did. So listen, it's been 10 weeks. People have film on everybody and every play and everything that's going on. All right. So we're not going to have these big 2-score, 3-score wins anymore. I don't think so. So I'm really not worried. Yeah. Let's see how it progresses.
You're going up against the bad man, Aaron Rodgers. Now, a lot of people have said that, Green Bay season is over. Some people are saying this is a must win, or they have to put together 4 or 5 wins to keep it going.
And he has a broken thumb.
So how many bad weeks are you going to keep saying the season is over? Is it over or
is it not?
Yeah,
anyway.
Make up your mind. I mean, yeah, you might have a good game. You had a good game the other night. You come off a win, and then you had a really terrible game the next week. So it's like Aaron, doing his thing as he feels, his mood. He wakes up. He smokes up something, and maybe it's bad.
Do I feel like winning today or not?
Yeah.
Or reading a book or a comic.
Picked up the wrong stack to smoke. I don't know. Yeah. So, I'm not too worried. I think our cornerbacks and our secondary will cover those new receivers out there. Again, the run game, Aaron Jones. That's where I think the game will be won or lost. So I'm serious. I'm not worried yet. I'm not worried. Philly takes it. 28. What was the over under?
6.5 over under 45.5.
Yeah, give me 28-20 Philly win and cover.
Win and cover and the over as well. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. See, I want to go against you to score some points, but I just don't think that Aaron Rodgers
Do
can
it.
get it done. I can't. So, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pick the under. I'm gonna pick Philly to win 17-10 to be a very close game. Both teams struggling to get off the starting blocks. They just cover by half a point, and yeah, so Philly and the under. Coach.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. I think they signed those two.
I thought he was
You
going to
needed
do
a
his
mustache for that, you know, like,
yeah, you forgot
hey,
about that.
and a monocle,
Very-
you know.
$1 billion. All right.
I do think they signed those two guys last week or 10 days ago now for December 24th. I think that's the reason they're on that team now, because they're
Dallas.
This will be a good test for them.
Christmas
Right?
Eve.
It was a good test last week. It's one more week in the system. It'll be another good test because even though Green Bay's not that good in certain areas, they can run the ball when they make a decision to.
Yeah.
However, I like Philly to cover this and win actually pretty big. So I'll go Philly here and the over.
Okay, so I can score some double points on the under pick there. Fantastic. Let's go to game number 3, the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Indianapolis Colts. Indy keeps coming back to us every week. All right, Coach, what are the odds?
I really only picked this just because I wanted to see how Indy would respond back after a loss with a brand new coach. Not that I'm a big Jeff Saturday fan, but I'm always curious about this. At the moment, we've got Indy. I can't believe this is favored by -2.5, and the over/under has now moved to 40. It's not 39.5; it's now 40
It's
as
40.
as of this podcast. So Indy -2.5 at home, over/under 40.
Is Pickett playing?
Yep,
He's healthy.
and Pickens as well.
And Pickens. So if Pickett
And
and Pickens
Pickens.
are playing,
You're Pickens.
if both Pickett's are playing, then I'm going to go with Pittsburgh to win this game. I've got them winning 27-20. So Pittsburgh and the over. I think this Jeff Saturday hype train has to stop sometime. I think with the Eagles, it kept going despite a loss, but the fact that they kept it so close. I don't know. It's just this one doesn't have any real analysis behind it, but I'm just going to go with Pittsburgh to win and to get the over.
I think this is actually one of the most interesting games this week. I mean, it could really be a close. So I'm going to go with a field goal win. I'm actually going to pick Indy, although I was kind of battling with TJ Watt back, whether JT's runs will be halted. I don't know if that. And then I think it's going to be a running back battle between Harris and JT. I just feel like Indy comes out on this and take 20-17. I'll keep it under.
Yeah.
But they was it 2.5?
2.5 to Indy. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think they cover that 2017.
Okay, Coach.
Just a few minutes ago, someone said that the Indy defense is for real, no matter who the coach is. And now that a couple of those, I think Hayward's finally healthy for Pittsburgh. TJ Watt's probably closer to 100% healthy. I think you see a pretty good defensive battle. Is it possible that Matt Ryan can be better than Pickens or Picker or whatever his name is? Pickens.
Pickett.
So I'll take Indy here as well, and I like the under.
All right.
A good chance for you this week, man.
Yeah, I can get
Lots
some
of
double
points
points
on offer. Yeah.
Let's
Now,
go, Mo.
We don't need the tiebreaker, but you've got the
Did
Bears.
you just call him a hoe? Oh, you said Mo. All right. I'm sorry.
Mo.
All right.
Let's go
Okay.
with the
Ho. The Christmas turkey.
It's not
came
Christmas
a
yet.
month
It's
earlier.
not Christmas yet. Got to wait a couple of weeks for that. All right, we've got the Bears and the Jets. We don't need that for a tiebreaker, but the Jets have benched Wilson. Justified? Not justified? Coach, what are your thoughts?
Oh, I think there are times when you just need to sit him down, especially being that young.
Yeah.
Have a reset, have a deep breath, watch some film. I still think he's probably their quarterback of the future because, number one, they don't have enough draft capital to draft another quarterback between he and Darnold in the last 5 years. So now I was quite curious that it wasn't Flacco instead of White being the wily veteran that he is to kind of stabilize the ship a bit. That surprised me.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they're playing Chicago. I'm not sure the quarterback for Chicago is going to play. Yeah, so that
Right.
gives me a little pause. I like the Jets in this one. I want Chicago to win the game, but I think, listen, it's 4.5 at the moment.
Yeah.
Over under 41.5. I think the Jets will probably cover this. I think White will play just good enough. But listen, talk about for real. The Jets defense pretty darn good as
Yeah,
too.
they're pretty good.
Yeah. And they've got a lot of talent, and they don't have any injuries at the moment on the defense. And that's when you win some games this time of the season. Yeah, so I'll go Jets here and probably under.
Yeah, for me it's very simple. If Justin Fields plays, they can win the game. If he doesn't, they don't win the game. I think it's under both ways, whether he plays or not. I don't think a lot of points get scored in that game, but yeah, hopefully Chicago wins. Yujita, agreed?
Yeah, I think Chicago does it, but Wilson being benched, I mean, this fan base of the Jets is just ridiculous, right? Because
I mean, any worse than the Chicago fan base or the Philly fan base.
I mean, yeah.
Come on.
I mean,
those with glass houses, right?
Yeah,
you have a very short memory
weird,
of our old friend from Chicago who used to be on this podcast,
right?
when Chicago was in the toilet. So come on.
No, I mean they benched him, because he messed up at a press conference, and I mean. The guy's record is what it's.
I don't think that's why they benched him. They benched him because he sucks at the last.
Fine, he sucks, but he has his. I mean, is it really? He's not hitting the targets, or they're not able to find open routes for him? I mean, this is debatable. But again, whatever happens, you beat the Bills. You're on a 5-2 record for 7 weeks. Yeah, your completion percentage isn't great. What do you want to do? You want to bring Mike White because he had a 400-yard game last year, and he was like, the best ever second string quarterback.
Probably dreaming of a white Christmas coming up in December. Right?
So I like the fact that Wilson is benched just to show them Jets. Okay, now you got
messing
Mike
around.
Right. Yeah, all right. I want to see this. Yeah, and then just get blown away, and then bring Flacco back for the week after, play him a couple of weeks, get blown away, and then bring Wilson back at the end.
Well, guys, you just made a pretty. I mean, on paper, it was an unwatchable game. You made it quite interesting now, so I think I'm going to tune into that one.
one quick player bet for the week. Now that Mike White is starting, Mike White. Now that he's going to start, his over/under passing total is 192.5. We thinking over for him or under for him?
Under.
Under?
I think over. I think he might go for the over there. If he starts kind of because the Jets, this guy comes in.
You're like a Jets fan all over up.
No. How can I be a Jets fan and a Patriots fan?
Chicago's defense has been giving up a lot of passing yards and 25 to 30 every game the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just thought it was a good.
What are your thoughts, Coach? Are you going over or under?
I think it's over.
Over.
I think well, first of all, I think the Jets win the game. I think it'll go under just because I don't think either of them are going to score points because I don't think the quarterback for Chicago is going to play.
Yeah.
But I think he'll throw for 200 or more, and then probably 2 or 3 picks and a couple of touchdowns.
An eventful game in store, I guess.
Yeah, we know what we're watching.
That's not one I'm going to watch, probably, no.
Yeah, well, we've got Sam Darnold starting for us at Carolina against Russell Wilson and the Denver Broncos.
Big news.
The Baker experiment is finished.
I mean, that's done, right? So we've got Sam Darnold.
Happy Thanksgiving. Here is Sam Darnold.
Against the Denver Broncos, against Russell Wilson. I mean, somebody has to win, right?
That's a barn burner.
Baby. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Talk about unwatchable, right?
I'm not going to watch that one either. No, thank you.
Cancel all your meetings and everything. Yeah, put your wife to bed because nothing's happening. You're watching the game.
Kids, the wife, anybody that has trouble going to sleep that night, just put on that game. They'll be snoozing in no time.
There's a better high school game in Texas on Saturday night. Aledo and South Lake Carolina. Is a really good one.
With better quarterbacks, probably.
But
We're gonna
definitely better
we're gonna
quarterback.
listen to it on the wireless even.
Yeah.
All right. All right, go guys. On that note, we'll end it here. Happy Thanksgiving. It's going to be an interesting week of football.
Thank you very much.
Like, subscribe, comment, and share. We'll see you guys next week.
Hasta
Bye-bye.
luego.